And so I created this program, which is a 90-day program that take people through mastering their vision, mastering their priorities, and mastering their day. And what I have come to shockingly discover is that most entrepreneurs have not set goals for themselves or their business. And I'm like, how do you know what direction to take your business in when you have not set goals? Are you just flying by the seat of your pants?
Oh, that just gave me anxiety. I'm scared. Hey, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of the Beauty in You podcast. I am super excited for this, and I'm so ready to go on this rediscovery journey. Our guest is a focused and driven and passionate individual who wears many hats with grace and excellence. She is an inspiring author of the book, Breaking Free, My Purpose is Waiting on Me, and a dynamic coach who empowers entrepreneurs and business owners to enhance their productivity. She specializes in refining scheduling, organization skills, and prioritization, enabling her clients to be effective business owners. Welcome to the Beauty in You podcast. Oh my Lord, I know I was going to do this. Nichica Melton. Did I get it right?
You got it 99%. Nichica. Just let that SH flow.
I got to do it again.
Okay.
But it's okay. I'll do it later. I'm like, I don't want to mess up. Thank you so much for being a special guest on my podcast today.
Thank you for having me.
I am so excited. I cannot wait to dive into your rediscovery journey. I cannot wait to talk about what you're doing now. But yes, let's get right into it. Let's go all the way back to that rediscovery journey.
That's a long ways back. I had gone through a not so great marriage where I had totally lost who I was, didn't know who I was outside of being a mother and working in ministry. And I had gotten to the point where I was like, okay, God, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. I have no idea what I'm supposed to be focusing on outside of my children. That's an everyday thing. And I just literally, and by this time, I'm remarried.
Okay.
And so my husband, who's my husband now, he was like, you need to just lay before God because, I'm being busy. And a lot of times we get the busyness in us because there's things that we don't want to deal with, questions we can't answer. And so we make ourselves busy, allow ourselves to be busy, allow ourselves to just be going. And that's what I was doing. And so he was like, you need to lay before God because you're asking this question. And he said, and I don't have the answer for you. So you need to let the Lord lead you. And I literally one day when I was in the house by myself, which was a very rare occurrence, there were no kids, no husband, no nothing in the house but me. And I laid in between, I was on the floor in between the footboard and my TV. And I said, God, I need to know because I don't know who I am right now. I don't know. I lost so much of myself in my first marriage, always redoing it, redoing me. If I be this person, if I become this person, the marriage will get better. He'll do better. All the lies. And I changed myself so much that I didn't know who I was. And what the Lord said to me was, my purpose for you has never changed. And to hear that is beyond comforting because you know that it's kind of like that reaffirming that you haven't lost ground. Yeah, you wasted some years in that marriage and you lost yourself, but you've not lost ground because God's plan for you has never changed. And he took me to Isaiah 61. And I had my Bible in front of me and I was like, Isaiah 61, Isaiah 60, what is that? What is that?
Mhm.
And it says, the Spirit of the Lord God is upon me. And God was just reaffirming, I'm with you. I've always been with you. My purpose for you has not changed. And if you're ready to put in the work, because
Yeah.
it doesn't come easy, if you're ready to put in the work, then let's go. And I spent the next few years just allowing God to pull back layers,
Mhm.
heal, provide answers to questions that one time I didn't want to ask. Just to be 100% honest with you, I
Yeah.
didn't want to ask the questions. And it got me to the place that I am now, where as a simplified productivity coach, I help my clients create goals that match the lifestyle that they say they want to lead.
Mhm.
And I help them see themselves beyond the limited perspective and limited box that they've been otherwise comfortable in.
Yeah. Yeah. Your story sounds like my story. When we talk about getting lost in motherhood and getting lost in the marriage and then that healing part, like I just remember, well, I just thought for a long time that my job as a mom
Mhm,
and a wife just meant that. Like when I became a wife, then my job is to like make sure my husband's good. And then when I became a mom, then my job was to make sure that my husband and my kids are good. And then I'll come back to me later.
mm,
And I don't know, I feel like society, I always say society taught me that because I don't really know where I got it from. I don't know. I never had a really good example of what marriage looked like growing up. I never
yes.
wanted to get married because I saw a lot of stuff that I don't think young people should see. And I
Mhm,
didn't like, I knew that wasn't right. Now that wasn't it. I knew that wasn't right. And so I didn't want it. But when I got it, I'm like, I really don't know what to do here. So I guess I'm supposed to just put my time here. And I was miserable.
mm,
I felt like all my potential was like squished. And
yes.
I felt like a robot every day. I felt like a straight robotic person just doing all these things that I guess society wants me to do, but I am really not happy doing this. And I don't really like it. But if I tell somebody that, then they're probably going to say I'm a bad mom and wife. So I might want to just keep going down this path and I'll get to me later. And that later
Wow.
part was like, no, I need to get to me now because it turned into resentment and it turned into
Mhm,
depression and it turned into anxiety. And all we know those are not great things for you. So,
exactly.
yeah, I can so relate to that. It's just like, who am I supposed to be? And how am I supposed to do this and still love me? Who am I? So I completely understand that part because it's like, oh my God, we go through so much. And, like for me, I don't know what's right is right. I'm just doing what I think I'm supposed to be doing.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So
Exactly.
so when
I
you
didn't have I didn't have that example either.
Mhm.
And I had an epiphany back in May of this year. People ask you, what did you want to be when you grew up? What did you want to be? And I started thinking about it. I wanted to be a mom for as long as I can remember. But child, I wasn't visioning about being nobody's wife.
Yeah. Seriously,
And
I understand.
I was like, oh my gosh. And I didn't have the examples
Mhm.
of how to what it was supposed to look like. Like, what does healthy
Healthy.
marriage
Mhm.
look like? And there's so many different ways that your marriage can be healthy, but I didn't have those examples. But being a mom, oh my gosh, I wanted to be that, because they give you baby dolls when
When
you
you're a
little, little,
baby.
little. So I've always wanted to be a mom, but a wife, no.
Mhm. Me either. I'm just being honest. My husband know. Don't
Yes.
play. You know. No, I didn't. I didn't want to, but I always wanted to be mom. I used to tell people like, even if I gotta go to a little bank and pick my husband, like not husband, but like baby father out of a book, like the sperm bank. I was so serious. I'm like, because I want to be a mom. I'm gonna be a great mom. Oh my God. And I had to do the work on that. Where did that come from? That came
Mhm.
from the lack of what I felt I didn't get from my mom. And so I wanted to be a mom so I can do all those things for my baby. But yeah,
Mm.
like I'm telling you, we come about doing the work. Woo, Lord, you be going to some place, you're like, I don't even know if I want to go here.
Right.
I don't even want to go here. I want to talk about your healing journey real quick because you had
Mhm.
to heal. And I am a
Yes.
healing coach. That's what I do. Let's heal before we go forward and do all those great things. Um, what would you say was one of the hardest things you had to face during your healing journey?
Oh, there were many. I would say one of the ones that I had to face was one, I didn't believe what God was saying about me, because if I had truly believed it, I would not have allowed even myself to change it.
Mm,
And I would not have become a zombie. They talk about dead man walking. I'm there. You
mhm,
see me. I'm interacting with you. I'm completing sentences,
mhm,
but on the inside, just completely dead. And if I had believed what I heard God say about me, and if I had that reinforcement, somebody coming along reinforcing it, I don't think I would have made a lot of the decisions that I did. So, in my healing journey, when God spoke that day, regardless of what I felt, regardless of what I saw, I had to choose to believe what he was saying. That was the foundation, that was the core, that was the everything. No matter if there was reinforcement or not,
mhm.
I had to believe him, or I was going to be right back in this place if I ever got out of it. I had to choose to believe.
Yes, that's the hard part.
Mhm.
We find it so easy to like accept all those negative things people say about us. Cause I was the same way. I was the same way. Anything negative or anything bad that happens, I'm
Mhm.
like, well, maybe I deserve it. And I tried to like
Mm.
think of some way where I did something that this is maybe the Lord trying to tell me that was a lie. That was just like, that's not true. But I was trying to make it make sense because there's no way that I could be worthy of such good things happening, or there's
Mm.
no way I could be worthy of the things that I really want to do. And so anything negative, I like, yep. Anything positive, I was like, yeah, okay, or thanks, or, I kind of rolled my eyes about it. But I had to change my mindset. Like I had to do those positive affirmations to believe in myself. And I am my biggest cheerleader now, but I was not before.
Yeah.
Not before. And, again, doing the work, you're like, where'd that come from? Because all the negative things that was said to me in my childhood, girl, how am I still here? Lord Jesus. Childhood, you
Mhm.
start looking at your childhood and all those negative things that were said and done, and you start believing and looking how you moved back when. It
Mhm.
carries on to your adulthood. It carries on.
Yes.
We interact in friendships and in work relationships and then intimate relationships, like all of those things, that developmental time makes such a big difference, and you can carry it over, and then you see like,
Yes,
hey,
you
this is kind of
can.
repeating itself. We
Yes.
gotta change this. We have
Yeah.
got to change what we feed ourselves. So that positive self-talk is so important. We got to learn how to navigate through the negative self-talk and embrace the positive self-talk and start doing that, cognitive reframing of all of those things. And I
Mhm.
just think it's so important to understand that we are our biggest critics and we have to know that we are worthy of so much more.
Yes, I agree with you 110%. And I know people will say that, well, I'm my biggest critic, and some people are and some people aren't. But
Mhm.
I tell folk all the time, I can tell you everything that's wrong with me, and I can tell you everything that's right with me.
Mhm.
And it was probably about maybe 4 or 5 years ago that I could say, like standing flat footed, looking you into the depths of your soul, that I am okay with Nishika, whether you are okay or not.
Wow.
And whatever you're not okay with, you have to add it to the list of things that you're going to have to get over in life because Nishika is okay
Yes.
with Nishika.
I love it. I love that. That's powerful.
It took me a long time to get there.
Mm,
Long time.
yeah, it's growth.
Yes, growth, pushing, trusting
Mhm.
myself, trusting God, just trying to make sure that I'm not repeating cycles.
Mhm.
Because, what you were talking about, I call them imprints. And there are imprints that are made on us all our lives.
Mhm.
And we determine what stays and what doesn't. And, when you look at your children and you start seeing remnants of something that, you were like, oh God, I
Yup.
remember that from when I was that. Okay, we got to cut that. Let's go ahead and talk about it because you can't carry that like I carried it. Can't
Yeah.
let you do it.
Yes. I it's so crazy. It's like I'm so happy to have this conversation with you. This is so cool. But with my kids, I am like, we talk all the time, which I love. We talk. My
Yeah.
son be telling me everything. I'd be like, boy, I don't know, but I'm listening to you because I don't want to shut that door. But they're very
Right.
comfortable. They're very, very comfortable with me. And I'm always asking them, like, how do you feel? What's going on? What do you think about that? Should I do this? What's your opinion on that? Like
Hmm.
all the time, because I want them to know that I want them listening and that,
Yeah.
their decisions and their thoughts and their voices being heard. And I ain't had that. Girl, don't ask me no questions. You gotta do what I tell you to do. Let me tell you something. For the longest time, like in elementary school, like I never talked, dude. I was quiet. And like you're like, okay, yeah.
Yes.
I was like
Yes.
quiet, and my teachers be like, she never talks. Like she gets good grades, but she never talks.
Hmm.
Is everything okay? But you know why I didn't talk? Because I was scared to talk. Because my mom said, "You let me find out you talking to class. I'm gonna beat you. I'm gonna beat you, and you know what, right?" And I was like, "Oh my god, I don't want to get beat." Like I'm not even gonna lie to you. And so I like took some of those things, like the fear.
Mm.
Like I don't want my kids to be scared of me. Like they
Yeah.
should be scared, and they do know, like, mom not playing when I do the mama look like I'm not playing with you, but it's a different type of fear to me. It's
Hmm.
like, I know
Hmm.
that they know that they can make mistakes and they can learn from their mistakes, but they're not afraid to like talk to me about something that
Okay.
may be bothering them. Or if they're having a confrontation or something at school, middle school is crazy. High school, my son's in high school, it gets crazy. They're not afraid to come to me and talk to me about those things. And so I really wanted to reshape that, like my childhood. I want y'all, don't play with me. I'm not your friend.
Hmm.
You can talk to me,
Hmm.
but I'm not your
Hmm.
friend. But I never wanted them to be afraid to the level of fear that I felt growing up, if that makes any sense at
That
all.
makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
yeah.
Because and I don't even know, because I feel like, with my mom, she had me so young, we were kinda growing up together, and
Mhm.
she was still discovering who she was,
Yeah.
and growing up in the Black household, you didn't talk back. If
Mhm.
you had an opinion, you kept it to yourself because ain't nobody asked you
Mhm.
anything, especially as a child.
Mhm.
You were seen and not heard. You understood you don't be in grown folk business.
Yep.
When grown folks start talking, you left the
Go
room or you
upstairs.
went outside. Yep, yep. Because don't let them have to tell you. Um, and so there was always a fear. And with my children, I had to learn how to balance, as they're growing up. Yes, we laugh, we talk, whatever, but don't mistake me as somebody you can talk to any kind of way like you do your friends, because there is a snatcherization that will take place.
Mhm.
And I know there was a period where my children they would have to describe what that fear looked like,
Mhm.
but they knew the lines, they knew the respect, and they knew not to cross the line.
Mhm.
But they also knew that if something went left, no matter who did it, mama was coming with her cape and she was
Yes.
shutting everybody all the way down. It didn't matter who it was, because that's what mom does. Mom is the rescuer. Mama doesn't hurt. She doesn't feel pain. She's superwoman.
Yep.
She conquers everything. She's never sad. Sometimes she get angry,
Yep.
but
We just
she
have
can
it
handle
all.
everything.
Mhm.
And I said to my kids, maybe like it was right after the pandemic, maybe like a year or so ago, I apologized to them because I said I didn't show you guys how to go through,
Mm.
because you never saw me go through. You saw me with the answer. A problem was presented and it got solved. That's all you saw.
Yeah.
And so when trouble did come their way, it was a lot of talking that I had to do with them. And then I realized your children never saw you go through the process of healing, of
Mhm.
solving those problems, all those things you did. You never exposed them to your process. And in that area, as parents, we do a disservice
Yeah.
to ourselves and our kids.
Yeah. I would agree. I would absolutely agree. My healing journey actually started because of my kids though.
Mm,
Because my son, it's the same thing, like we don't hurt, we don't feel anything. But I thought I was doing like a super good job of hiding that mom, like the mom face, the mom armor. Like, I show nothing. I ain't showing no feelings. I'm really hurt right now, but they're not gonna know it.
right.
My son, he was 5 then. And he had asked me, Mommy, why are you always so sad? Hmm. And when he said that to me, I'm like, I'm over here with this mom armor on, doing my
You
job.
thought you were.
Asking me. I thought I was doing a good job, and I wasn't. I wasn't doing a good job, and that's when I realized, like, you playing, you need to stop because whatever you think you're putting on, them babies can see it.
Mm,
And I initially thought of, my childhood. I'm like, I gotta break this. I can't allow them to just see me go through that, thinking I'm doing a good job, and they can really see that mommy's hurting. And
right.
that's when I put myself into I found a therapist because again, even though I am a big advocate on mental health and I will have y'all in my couch all day, I was like, I ain't about to sit on nobody's couch. I know y'all lying. That's not my like I was literally like, I am the biggest advocate, but for me, because I'm the strong one, like, no, I'm not going. And Trey did that to me. I said, okay, let me pull out. I know. Let me pull up and let me go. I have to go sit and be on the other side. It's my turn. It's my turn to do the
Wow.
work. Yeah, it's my turn to do the work. And even my therapist, to this day, I have to thank her because she pushed me. Ooh, I'm difficult. I'd be like, ooh, you'd be like, I got them difficult clients. I'm a difficult client. Look. Um, she pushed me beyond my comfort zone, which is her job. But I
Mhm.
used to get so mad. She'd be like, "Who is Chiquita?" And I'm like, "What are you talking? Why are you asking me this? Like, who? Like, I already told you." She's like, "No, that's Trey. No, that's Leah. No, that's Charles. Who are you? Who are you?" And she pushed me every day until I had my big breakthrough. But she pushed, push, 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 push.
Mm,
Um, yeah, so I'm gonna always be thankful for her because I wouldn't even be doing any of this stuff
right.
without her. And the business is called the Chiquita, who I am the Chiquita. Like it's a whole story behind the name. even though it's my name, but yeah, my kids pushed me to my healing journey because I thought I was doing a good job, wearing the mom armor, and I was doing a terrible job, which I guess it is a good thing because I wouldn't be where I am today.
That baby set you free.
He did. He was like, mama, you playing? Why you look like that? I want to ask you, as you've gone through in rediscovery is every day. I call it it's a big circle. Like we're always learning something new. But as you've gone through your rediscovery journey and you used to feel lost and not knowing who are you now? Can you clearly define that? I am blank.
I am resilient, relentless. I am focused. I am strong in my soul. I am strong in the spirit. I am fortified in the word, unshakable. There's a quote by Queen Elizabeth. I think it was Queen Elizabeth the First. And she said that as a woman, I am expected to bend. I'm expected to break. She said, but I bend to no end.
Yes.
And when I saw that, I said, yes, ma'am, I am walking with you. Yeah, that's who I am. That's part of who I am.
I love
That's what I can say. I couldn't always say that, not with confidence.
that was
But
very confident.
yeah, yeah. You can't tell me any different, child, because I will tell you you lying and you don't see clearly, and there's something wrong with you.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely,
Ah,
absolutely.
I love it. Yes, you are inspiring someone out there with your story. You are, and like I said, I feel like I'm so happy to talk to you about this. This is so great. I get so
Yes.
excited. I'm like, yes. Talk to me about your book, Breaking
So
Free.
yes, Breaking Free, My Purpose is Waiting on Me was the first book that I
Mhm.
did. And it took me a year to write it because as I was writing it, I was healing. Each person within that book, even though they're people out of the Bible, they're telling my story without telling my business. And it's done in such a way that you read the book and then there's exercises for you to do after each chapter so that you are self-reflecting
Mhm.
and making yourself look inward by answering the questions honestly. And it's one of those books that you could read it every single year and see where you are in your journey, where you are in your mental capacity, where you are in life, letting down all the masks, all the facades, all the little lies that you want to tell yourself because you don't want the answers to the questions or you don't want to ask the questions. The book
Mhm.
asks you the questions. And then if you're truly ready, like you say you are, you go through it and you connect with the journey of each one of the people, each one of the persons that are talked about in that book. When I first wrote it and self-published it, I put a man on the cover.
Oh.
Yes. And it was so crazy because when I would go vend and my husband would be with me, they would start talking to him about the book
Mhm.
because there was a man on the cover. Even when he would say, I didn't write the book, my wife wrote the book, they would ask him all the questions.
Mm.
And I put a man on even though my picture's on the back, with the self-published version, I put a man on the cover because I know how people think. Like a woman will read a book about it. It don't matter who wrote it. If
Yeah,
it's a good book, it's a
we're
good
gonna read
book.
it.
But a dude, if it's got a woman on the front, he ain't picking it up.
Yeah.
He's not going to do it. So I didn't want to put myself on the front cover.
Mhm.
I wanted it to be something that anybody could relate to. And then when the book was picked up by a publisher, it was even more generic. It's just two hands that are breaking free from chains.
Yes. I love that. Y'all better get this. I
Yes.
I think healing is just, it's like the scariest, hardest, most necessary thing that we have to do. And the fact that you have this resource out there to help people along their journey. We
Yeah.
all have a story to tell. And what you said is like, tell your story without telling your business. I think that part of it is important because a lot of times, like when I always tell people, tell y'all story. You have a story to tell. Tell your story. It is so important that we hear where you've come from and what you're doing. Like, girl, I ain't trying to tell everybody my business. That is like the first thing they say. So when you said it, I'm like, oh
Yes.
my God, that's like the first thing people say. I'm like, I didn't tell you to tell your business. I told you to tell your story. Like they're not the same thing. Like tell your
Correct.
story. Tell your
Mm-hmm.
story. People need to hear that. I speak and get off stage and you're like, you don't look like you've gone through that. Well, you can't judge a book by its cover, but that's what I'm telling you is that, healing doesn't have I healed from this. I was depressed. Like we don't look like that.
Right.
So we have to go and
Exactly.
tell people like, I see you. I feel you. I was once there. You were, yeah, I was. Yes, I
Mm-hmm.
was because there's no difference between me and you. We all have
Right.
a story to tell. And I just think
Right.
it's so important.
Yes, ma'am.
So important. So you're a coach now.
Yes. Yes.
What is the significance of you coaching and the impact you have on others?
Well, what I was finding out, because when I first got into the coaching arena, I was helping people work through identity crisis. But what I was finding was people don't like admitting that they don't know who they are.
Yeah. So
Because
true.
they see it as a weakness. Even when I share my situation, what I had gone through, how I got to the point that I had no clue who I was. Folks just didn't want to do it. So then I started working with a coach. And one of the questions I was asked was, what what are they saying that you help them with? And there were four areas that when I would ask clients for reviews, these were the four things that were constantly repeated in the review. One, that I helped them prioritize what they needed to focus on. I helped them with their goals as far as creating goals and then breaking the goals down. I helped them get organized and I helped them with their scheduling.
Mhm.
And so when my coach and I started brainstorming, she was like, what is God telling you? I said, I keep hearing simplified productivity. She was like, oh, that's pretty interesting. She said, because there's a whole lot of high productivity coaches. She said, but I've never heard of a simplified productivity coach. I
Yeah.
said, well, I'm one of those people. I don't feel like it should take all day to do anything. And when somebody gives me something and it just seems real complicated, my brain starts working to break that thing down.
Mhm.
That's just how I am. I like things to be simple because if it's not, I ain't gonna do it.
Yep.
I'm not gonna tell you I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna tell you no. Do I understand what you're saying? Yeah. Am I gonna do it?
No.
Mm-mm. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna let you think I'm gonna do it. And so I created this program, which is a 90-day program
Mhm.
that take people through mastering their vision, mastering their priorities, and mastering their day. And what I have come to shockingly discover is that most entrepreneurs have not set goals for themselves or their business. And I'm like,
Mhm.
how do you know what direction to take your
Going.
business in
Yeah.
when you have not set goals? Are you just flying by the seat of your pants?
Oh, that just
That's
gave me
a hustle.
anxiety. I'm scared.
It blew my mind. And I'm not talking about people that just got started like maybe a month or two ago. I'm
Mhm.
talking about people that have been in business for at least a year.
Oh, wow.
Not a single goal for their business, for themselves, because they had gotten used to
Mhm.
in the 9 to 5, somebody tells you what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
They give you your focus. But as an entrepreneur, you got to know what you want to do. You got to go after it. And so this coaching business uh, was produced, was birthed.
Here it is.
Yes.
I love that. You're acting in your you found your purpose. You found what
Mhm.
you're supposed to be doing. Let me say you're listening. You're listening to
Yes.
it. That part, because I think that's what's important. Um, I think it's crazy how when you do that, start thinking about how it works. Because in the beginning, when I first started that Chiquita Mack, and
Mhm.
I'm like, I help moms rediscover themselves um, through motherhood. And then what I found after doing it, I'm like, I'm helping these mamas heal. Like
See?
before it's like you have to start and
Mhm.
you have to start somewhere
Mhm.
and still do the work and feel your purpose. And then after a while, it's like, wait, this is what I really do. So I'm like, I've helped women heal their minds because that's what I'm doing. You coming to me, we about to heal. We're gonna get to all
Right.
that great stuff you want to do. But before we get there, we gotta do the work, we gotta go through this framework real quick.
Mhm.
So I just think it's so cool. Like we start off somewhere, like, okay, we're doing this. And it's like, wait a minute, I'm really doing this.
That right there.
Yeah,
Yes.
let me live in this for a little bit. Let me embrace that for a little bit. And I was scared too at first to even talk about like healing. Like I help women heal because again, like just the fear of like my story and like really getting into like the details of that and the I say trigger, maybe some
Mm.
triggers in certain parts of it, but I learned
Mhm.
how to get through that. But what I haven't learned how to do, which a lot of people tell me like you're fine, don't worry about it, is I have not been able to tell my story on stage without like getting teary-eyed, like, seriously, yeah, I have not
Really?
yet. I have not, like, every time I'm, like, on stage and I get to one part and I'm like, "Alright, y'all, you already know." Like, I get so emotional and I have not been able to, like, to not, but I've heard, I heard people say, like, that means you're connected and that means you're this and that means you're that. And I'm like, I just wanna get through one time without being like,
Wow.
"Okay, y'all."
But do the tears mean the same thing every time, or do they mean something different?
I think in the beginning, I not wow, that's a good question. Look, that's a good question. Um, I think in the beginning, it meant um just being like honestly afraid, like I cannot believe I'm really telling these people what happened type of thing,
Mhm.
like the hurt. And
Mhm.
then at this point of doing it, I still get emotional, but it's more so that I came out of it, if that makes any
See,
sense.
that's good. That's good.
Yeah. But I'm like, oh,
That's awesome. That's success.
yeah, yep. But that's my truth, but I'm here. I ain't it's not gonna stop me from getting on nobody's stage because I'm coming.
Yeah.
But I always find that emotions like there and I'm like, oh, okay, gonna get through this.
You got it. You got it. But I think that people they need to know, and I don't know how you can work it in, but because we assume that when people are crying that they're hurting,
Yeah.
but all tears aren't sad tears
Mhm.
because to cry because you made it through, you're celebrating victory. That's a
Yeah.
whole different kind of tear.
Yeah. Yeah. 'Cause it was hard, Lord. Do self-reflection, I'll be like, "Ooh, that was me." I keep all my journals, and sometimes I do go back to read them,
Mhm.
and I'm like, "Lord, I did write this. That's my story. You sure?
Pat yourself on the back,
Jesus.
girl.
Thank you. Because, oh my goodness.
You made
Oh,
it.
oh my goodness. Wow. I want to thank you for being a guest today. You have really
Thank
made me
you.
smile. I connect with you on so many different levels. So you stuck with me, girl. I'm about to be stalking you like crazy.
That sounds like a winner to me. Yes, ma'am.
Oh my God. I've had such a good time. Can you let everybody know where they can find you?
Yes, the best way to find me, because it will lead you to everything, is on my website, nichicamelton.com, and it's actually on the screen behind me.
Ba, ba,
If
ba.
anybody needs to know how to spell my name, nichicamelton.com, and it will also allow you access to a free FREE 30-minute strategy session with me. It is live, it is not a recording, and you leave that strategy session with actual tools and principles and techniques that you can walk away with and apply as soon as you get off of that call. So definitely go to my website and let's connect. Let's make it happen.
Yes, make it happen. And for those that are listening, it's going to always be connected in the show notes too. You can just do click on your phone, wherever you stream this podcast, you will have access. All right, you
Yay!
guys. Until next time.